President Adama Barrow today received a high-powered delegation led by the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. The diplomats discussed development issues with the Gambian leader and other top government officials. Aissatou Keita has the rest of that story.
Upon arrival, the Russian diplomats were received by members of the Russian embassy in Dhaka and the Russian consulate in Banjul. The delegation later proceeded to the presidency, where Mikhail Bogdanov was received by Foreign Minister Oseni Dabo. The Russian diplomats' visit was meant to further cement ties between Banjul and Moscow, following the recent reinforcement of diplomatic relations between the two nations. After a closed-door meeting with President Adama Barrow and Foreign Minister Dabo, Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov said they discussed key issues including trade and tourism.
There's a new period that has come of stability in the country, and this creates very favorable conditions for social economic development of the country, and we are glad to see that. We have signed today the agreement, the bilateral agreement on the visa-free regime. Some categories of our citizens, and this is the strengthening our bilateral legal basis of our relations.
The presence of my friend here, is a testimony to the fact that our relationship with the Russian Federation is strong and is growing stronger and stronger. We can only increase the level, we can never decrease it, we can never reduce the level of our relationship.
The Russian diplomat said he was reassured by the Gambian authorities of closer cooperation between the Gambia and Russia. For GRTS News, this is Aissatou Keita.
It is 17 years since he was gunned down during a student demonstration. Omar Barrow was a renowned broadcaster at Sud FM and an active Red Cross volunteer. As Gambian journalists rejoice over the newfound freedom after enduring 22 years of draconian media laws, Abdoulaye Badji visited the Barrow family to examine how life has been faring in the absence of their loved one, Omar Barrow.
17 years and 24 days since the April 10th and 11th student protests in the Gambia. Right now we are on our way to the compound of one of the victims, the late Omar Barrow, to speak to the family and see how they have been dealing with his demise exactly after 17 years and 24 days. How are you?
I'm fine, and
how's it going? It's good to see you.
Good.
Omar was not only a husband, but a friend who worked tirelessly to take care of his family.
He was my friend, he was my companion, he was a good and humble person. Omar was so loving, he was so caring, he worked diligently to take care of his family.
It was an emotional moment. His death was shocking news to the family, giving a detailed recall of what happened to her husband.
It was very shocking. I couldn't even believe my ears. By then, baby Fat was only 5 months old. He was giving assistance to the wounded students when he was shot dead to death. He was shot inside the Red Cross premises. I heard he was shot 3 times.
He was shot in the Red Cross campus, and you know that shouldn't be. All over the world you cannot see the Red Cross. But what I know, because of he was a journalist, so maybe they are trying to kill him.
Recalling what happened on the 10th of April, the current Director General of GRTS and one time a colleague to Omar described it as gruesome.
Contrary to reports that the students were killed by the PIU, I was on the ground and I saw myself what actually happened, because my own cousin, his son was killed by live bullet. I was on the scene, and in fact he died on my foot. I mean, I was with the former Minister of Interior, Usman Baji, and when I turned to him, we were in that crowd. I said, "Honorable Minister, this is my brother's son and they've killed him." And he was shocked, and the first question was, where did they get the armor from? Where did they get the weapons from?
A volunteer at the time with the Gambia Red Cross Society, this lady gave an account of what exactly happened the moment Omar was shot.
April 10, 11, Omar was one of the first volunteers to appear. He took casualties 2 times to the main hospital, referral hospital in Banyu. That was the RBTH. The third time, we saw soldiers coming, and it was Omar himself who shouted, "Guys, please run! The soldiers are coming." We all ran into the office. But unfortunately, he was the last guy to run, and he was shot. It was difficult to see Omar. He left a wife with only one child.
Colleagues and personnel of the Gambia Red Cross Society used the opportunity to call on government to take action and ensure victims like Omar and many others have justice. Eyewitnesses who were here on that fateful day, on the 10th of April, said Omar Barrow was shot 3 times right at this spot. After being shot 3 times, he was bleeding profusely, trying to make his way to this hall, where personnel of the Gambia Red Cross Society decided to come and give a helping hand. However, after being transported to the Dendroyal Victoria Teaching Hospital, he did not make it. He succumbed to the hands of death. The question still remains unanswered. When will Omar Barrow and the families of other victims gain justice for their lost ones? Reporting for GRTS News, I am Abdullah Baji.
The unforgettable tale of the late Omar Barrow. The Daily Observer Company on Thursday started a week-long media capacity building training for its staff. The program is part of the EU UNESCO project aimed at promoting a free press. Uminjai reports.
Reforming the Gambian media to better contribute to democratic governance is the theme of the week-long training of reporters, editors and layout editors at the Daily Observer Company. The training is anchored on enhancing the capacity of its staff in news gathering and dissemination.
I'm urging all the participants in this workshop to make best use of it, because it's our lifeline, and we have to cherish it. But more importantly, we're looking forward to more collaborations with the EU UNESCO in other areas in terms of capacitating us to enhance our participation into a democratic governance.
Dr. Henry Carroll gave a brief lecture on the role of journalists, singling out truth as a key element in the work of a journalist. Dr. Carroll also challenged journalists to do more on research and avoid ambiguities.
Before you write anything article, go and do your research and get things right. Well, it's very embarrassing for you to write something and then misinform the general public. It's too bad. You better not write than to write wrong information. At times they say speech is silver and silence is golden. So always do your research. That's what I call investigative journalism.
The training is considered crucial by the DPS of Information, saying it will not only capacitize journalists, but will enable them work better with the government.
This training exercise will build on the capacities of media professionals, who in turn will use their expertise and professionalism to work hand in hand with government to build a prosperous Gambia based on accountability and responsibility to the Gambian people. Training can improve business performance, profit, and staff morale. Your staff being trained will acquire new skills, increase their contribution to the business, and also building their self-esteem.
As the country's media assumes a more prominent role in the democratization process, the need for journalists and other media practitioners to receive much-needed training is equally being recognized by the different media houses. By doing so, they will be well placed to not only inform the masses, but also play the all the more important watchdog role that has now become a crucial responsibility of the Fourth Estate. Ominjai, GRTS.
A new youth organization called Art in Dynamics recently held a seminar at the Gambia College. The program was meant to promote students' participation in the arts. Aisa Keita has more on that story.
The seminar offered the participants the chance to recite poems, sing songs, and take part in a lecture on artistic works.
It is the only kind of profession that you can do. You feed your family during your lifetime, and even when you demise, when you're gone, you still keep on feeding your family. Because your royalties will take 70 years before we stop paying it to your family. So it's very important, even your small jobs, that you are doing, please make sure you go and register them so that it's not pirated, and then you have at least protection over your work, because this is the only thing that develops art.
Motivational writer Mamadou Sabali spoke extensively on the importance of the arts and called on students to venture into the field. Sabali commended the organizers for coming up with what he describes as a brilliant initiative.
The society is in conspiracy with us to try to make us what they want us to be, but what is our duty? You're getting into art, you're getting into creativity, whatever you want to do, follow your path, follow your passion. Don't allow anybody's criticism or suggestions to push you into a direction that you don't want to go.
The students took time to recite series of captivating poems.
Nouns given to the rivers, River Gambia, River Niger, River Mississippi, separated the connection of human, making political boundaries, making movement of the high organisms difficult. Chiefs in your authorities treat all men alike, give them the same law.
Terrorism, impunity, genocide, and all these tests that kill, adversity, and divide. I can remember the butchering of Dad and his innocent wives. I can remember their deep fainting, screaming, and cries. I can remember my heartbeat being destabilized despite my size, leading my boats of dreams to capsize in the perilous pools of wise lies. So I can remember.
Lamin Barrow, a first-year student of the University of the Gambia, used the platform to highlight the importance of the arts and how it has impacted positively on his life. The Creative Arts Department is hoping to inspire more students to study the arts and encourage and nurture new talents.
Don't give up, it's not over. So when you give up.
Reporting for GRTS News, I am Aissatou Jata.
A ministerial conference on the status of stateless persons is scheduled to be held in the Gambia next week. Aminata E. Sanyang spoke to Sekou K. Saho from the United Nations High Commission for Refugees about the significance of the conference. Here is an excerpt.
What is statelessness?
Any person who lacks nationality is stateless. You know, nationality is the bond. It's the legal bond between a person and a state. So if you lack that bond, that legal bond, you are stateless.
And why is it an issue in West Africa in particular?
Statelessness could be a source of conflict, you know. People sometimes they don't notice it, but a stateless person is denied of so many rights. Because if you are a stateless person, meaning that no country has recognized you as its national.
So I understand that a conference will be held. How does that conference intend to address the issue of statelessness?
You know, all these advocacy measures and policy decisions to be taken, you know, because we have two conventions on statelessness. One is 1954 convention relating to status of stateless persons. Then we have 1961 convention relating to reduction of statelessness. So these two conventions, there are still countries in Africa that have not ratified this. You know, I'm happy to say here, and I'm proud to say that the Gambia ratified this since 13th of December 2013.
Sekou Saho from the UNHCR talking to Aminata Sanyang on the forthcoming ministerial conference on statelessness. Welcome back. They were beaten in the tug of war by the Gambia Police Force, but the Gambia Armed Forces had a last laugh as they emerged overall winners of the May Day Sports. The soldiers scored 193 points to finish top after a close contest with the police, who came second with 189 points. The Gambia Region Television Services did well to improve on their last year's performance. RMS Jallo reviews the May Day Sports.
The Gambia Armed Forces has reclaimed the May Day Sports crown by beating a stiff competition from 68 other institutions to win the 26th edition. The 2017 May Day Sports Jamboree has been hailed by many as one of the most exciting in recent years. Over 69 institutions from both the public and private sector converge on the Independence Stadium to commemorate Workers' Day or Labor Day. The day-long celebration started with a march past from Bakau to the Independence Stadium. Afterwards, the workers competed in different sporting events, from sprint races to fun events, which lasted into the night. A colorful and a carnival atmosphere filled the Independence Stadium as workers from various sectors came together to celebrate the day through sports. The fun-filled event was televised live on the Gambia radio and television services to Gambians home and abroad who followed all the actions with joy, thanks to EcoBank for supporting the live broadcast. Scores of spectators came to support their respective workplaces, among them head of institutions. For some, it was an ideal moment to hang out and have fun. This year's Labor Day came barely 100 days into the Barrow administration, a period of renewed optimism for workers in the country. A moment that provided the chance for the likes of Ibrahim Silla to take part in the activities after several years in exile. The sporting events were mainly dominated by the different security services. Their team of active athletes won almost all the track events. Some of the main highlights of the day came on the Greasy Pool, where Gambia Armed Forces Ibrahim Jada brought down the flag after several attempts. The most exciting of all the events was the male tug-of-war final between the Gambia Police Force and the Gambia Armed Forces, which brought the entire stadium on their feet. The nail-biting power contest between the two security giants ended with the police pulling the army for the second consecutive year running. Despite losing their favorite tug-of-war contest to the police, the Gambia Armed Forces did enough to finish the overall winners of the 2017 May Day Sports. The soldiers won with 193 points to reclaim the title back from the police, who followed closely in second place with 189 points. Gambia Immigration's Department came third with 147 points. The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education finished fourth with 141 points, whilst the Gambia Prison Services scored 131 points in fifth position. For those of you eager to know the position of GRTS, I can proudly tell you that the state broadcaster, who were more occupied with broadcasting the events live, came out 36th position out of the 69 institutions. It was a remarkable performance by Team GRTS.